In 1938, Massillon's first real tiger skin was purchased from Denver taxidermists for $500. According to an interview on WKYC News, they've had to replace the costume with a new skin every 10 to 20 years until 2010, when they retired the skin for good but kept the head. It is believed that there have been at least 5 real tiger skins used over the years. The tradition of the Obie tiger cubs didn't start until 1970. According to the book, A Century of Heroes, the original thought was to have a tiger that remained in Massillon year after year, something inspired by an LSU football game. After realizing costs would be too much, Massillon decided on having a cub every year, a tradition that has continued ever since. But while LSU has a $3 million enclosure and a 3-step retirement plan for their tigers, Massillon has a garage.
A tiger cub's life, naturally in the wild, is surrounded by protection and care by its mother for the first 2 years of life. Sadly, there are far too many cases of tiger cubs being exploited for human needs. The tiger cubs of Massillon, known as the Obie tigers, start their lives at the hands of breeders. The cub is then taken into a barren, unethical trailer onto the football field, where it is then subjected to the immense roar of the crowd and the very loud marching band. It looks fine from the uneducated, but for every Obie tiger cub that experienced this, it is hell. The tiger can hear 5 times better than a human being, so while watching marching bands play and people cheer, the tiger cub's most acute sense is being traumatized. As there is no way for the cub to escape, this amplified, prolonged noise stress has built up to such a level that the cub loses control of its bodily functions and begins to defecate inside the small, unethical jail cell it has been confined to. There is no escape, completely unbalanced. After the game, the Obie cub lives in the equivalent of a garage, but then is taken out over and over to meet and greet sessions with the public, further removing the cub's ability to behave normally. The Obie cubs are a symbol of outdated, unethical practices, which equates to abuse.
This is only further evident in news interviews with the school. One instance quoting, "He likes everything but the band. The band noise makes him nervous. It makes for a messy cage after the game." Not only is it clear that the school holds little accountability for the cubs when they are in their care, but they have no interest in the cubs' well-being after and arguably before their arrival. In a 19 Action News interview, the school said, quote, "I think we make sure it comes from a good place. We have no control after that because it's not our tiger. We're just leasing." Statements like this only further the fact that the school is in direct violation of the Ohio law exemption that allows them to lease these cubs, as it requires them to send them to an AZA or ZAA accredited facility and provide a lifetime of care afterwards. Stump Hill Farm, where the cubs have come and gone since 1991, is not accredited by either. Prior to 2012, there were no requirements to track where the cubs went afterwards, and many are unaccounted for. In at least 3 instances, there were multiple Obies in a season, one being Obie 5 in 1974. He was the youngest cub they'd had and was extremely small for his age. Obie 5 was later reportedly returned to the Toledo Zoo, from which he was bought after an incident where the zoo had to intervene and tell the school not to allow the cub at a football game due to extreme winter temperatures. However, Toledo has no records of him, and a second tiger cub was brought in that same year. There have been at least 2 additional unexplained Obies, but we suspect this number may be more. Lily, the 2014 Obie cub, returned to Stump Hill Farm and shortly after received an injury due to improper containment that resulted in the amputation of one of her toes. This is just one example of the life of these cubs after leaving Massillon Washington High School. The many that are not accounted for are likely in similar or worse situations. While in the wild, tigers are becoming extinct, there is a growing surplus of tigers in the United States. This problem has led to events such as the Zanesville Massacre in Ohio in 2011 that resulted in the death of 18 tigers, as well as many other big cats and exotics. The Obie tiger tradition is feeding into this by the rules of supply and demand,